Okay, let's kick it off here on a Wednesday. Good to be back. Glad everybody's doing okay. It is cold, and we are ready to get it going. A little recap, because, Barry, you got to catch me up on a lot of things that have happened over the last couple of days while I've been down in the basement.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I imagine you're with all the guys you're with, and you're saying, and they're telling you, man, I can't wait till you get back. Make sure you tell Barry this, or I can't believe they haven't talked about that. As if John, this is how John likes to operate. Just, walk into town or walk into a room like he just, fell off the back of a wagon or something. Hey, what's the scoop around here? What's going on? Hey, big man, hey, buddy, how you doing? What's the story, man? Yeah. We know better. He knows what's been going on. A little anarchy in college athletics, a little NFL conference finals, which John had said are the best football games on the entire NFL schedule. There's plenty going on, but I will say this. Warren Matthews did a pretty good job. Did a really good job in your absence. So, props to him. Appreciate that. Uh-oh. And we just lost John's. Yep, hang on. There we go. Well, I hate it that it all of a sudden left, but evidently something is disconnected over on his side. But we have got plenty of news, plenty of things to talk about that we'll get to. Just some newsy stuff. Alabama played last night. Crimson Tide at home against Missouri. Alabama had no problem. None whatsoever. They led by 13 at halftime. They outscored them by 13 in the second half. Add it all up, and it's a 26-point win over Missouri. 90-64. Again, LeBaron Philon was good. He had 18 points. Aiden Sherrill had 16. Charles Bediako started. Played 18 minutes, which is not a lot of starter minutes, but Bediako started 14 points, 4 of 5 from the floor, 6 of 6 from the line. He looked like an NBA player. He is an NBA player. So that was, he certainly, there's no question, he certainly helps that team, which is why he's there. Obviously, his experience. He's played, 3 years since he, since he's been gone back in 2023. He'll be a difference maker for Alabama. They didn't, and again, he started, but he only played 18 minutes. Committed a couple of fouls, so it wasn't that. And Alabama gets the victory. Crimson Tide now in the they've been in the top 25, but Alabama in the SEC gets a win. They are now over 500 in the SEC at home, which Coleman Coliseum hasn't been much. They're 4-3 in the league. So is Auburn. So is Georgia, which is just looking at it, 6th in the league, number 6.
I believe so.
Sorry
is a little hiccup there. You go out
of
town for a couple of days, and everything goes to hell while you're away.
Yeah.
TV had a problem today, microphone, and you never know what's going to be next.
That's right. But it's good to have you back, and we can hear you now. We're talking about Alabama and the win over Missouri.
Yep.
This is what it's going to look like. Philon played well. Sherrill played well. He had 16 points. Latrell Wrightsell, he had 21, including 7 of 10 3-pointers.
Wow. Now that's
great
impressive.
game.
That's impressive.
But you know what everybody's doing? Everybody's looking at it and saying, Ooh, Alabama won. How did Charles Bediako do? It's
Well,
kind of a distraction from the national media. I don't know how much of a distraction it is on the team. Here we are in late January, and boom, here comes this guy, and he's starting now. And
well,
all of that.
that was one
But
of the
they did
first
look good.
things I was going to ask you about.
Yeah.
I don't know what I really don't, because I've been in the basement. Really, I've been checking in. I mean, seeing what the vibe has been out there about. I mean, Phillips' extensive, in-depth reporting about the Charles Bediako situation. I feel like I've been there. Getting Phillips' thoughts and opinions about the judge in Tuscaloosa and his thoughts about him, and just what a travesty. But on and on and on. I could go about that. I can get into that later. But what has been the biggest conversation? Has it been Charles Bediako or Alabama's new offensive line coach? Which one has caused the most reaction?
I know that they got rid of Kapilovic. I know that they hired somebody else.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Never heard of the guy.
Couldn't tell you any. I can't remember his name now.
Did I hear yesterday the guy's been out of coaching for like a year?
Well, he's been an analyst.
Oh, analyst, huh?
He's been an analyst, which is coaching. But not with any great responsibility.
Is that kind of like community college? It's college too.
It's still college. That's like, John has coached before. It was on the sidelines at a spring game in Tuscaloosa. But is that really coaching? When your only contribution to the staff is that's a hold. He's holding. And they have to rerun the play. Is that really so? I don't know anything really at all about that.
Well, first and foremost, Barry, I'm watching a little of the Bama-Tennessee game, and as I'm watching it, I'm just thinking all this fanfare and fluff about Bediako coming in, and they get beat. And I think Tennessee's beat Alabama, which I did not know, beat them in basketball like 4 or 5 straight times. I'm thinking, whoa, wait a minute. If the football coach had lost 4 or 5 in a row to Tennessee, whoa, trouble.
Which has happened before.
Yeah.
And yes, he did get in trouble. That's a fair point. I feel like now I've got to let everybody know who has a short memory. Some of you have short memories. That hasn't listened to the show since Thursday. Philip Marshall is the senior writer for UrburnUndercover.com because it has been 3 glorious days without us even mentioning the name Philip Marshall. Didn't mention him Friday, didn't mention him Monday, didn't mention him Tuesday. 6 minutes in to the Wednesday show, there is a Philip Marshall reference.
He reeled me in.
People who are newbies who are only listening to their 4th show. He's John Longshore. He's a regular on this program, hence the name. And Philip Marshall is his absolute fave.
He's a regular too, by the way. He just doesn't know it.
Is no question. But the offensive line coach.
Yeah.
I rarely do this, but I'm going to do this. I prefer to fight my own battles. But you guys on the chat line, just lob me his name. I don't want to have to get on my other laptop or on my computers here, but
let me see. I think I can help you out here, Barry. I think he's got a Steelers hoodie on.
Yeah. He was at like UCLA or something as an analyst. Heck, I don't know. Bob from
Adrian Clem from Southern Cal.
Oh, USC, not UCLA.
Adrian
Clem.
Wasn't Clem a character on Green Acres? That was Ebb.
Well, Clem was made famous in a rant about Auburn from Jim Rome.
Oh, yeah.
Where, that his name, that the name Clem, what did he say? He said, Auburn fans say War Eagle about anything. I stubbed my toe. War Eagle.
Mm-hmm.
Clem, what's, such and such. Hey, Clem, what's a War Eagle, Clem? I think he said the name Clem. Adrian Clem.
He was the run game coordinator in 2012 and 2013 at UCLA. Run game coordinator. That's nice.
Yeah.
Spent a few years in the private sector. That's never good. Coached at SMU in 2008, Oregon. Been around the NFL a little bit. Okay. Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. He's one of those guys, Barry, if you'd given me 100 names and said, hey, look at this list and see if you can pick out who you think the next O-line coach is going to be.
Yeah.
Can't say he'd be the guy, but, look.
We'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
If he was indeed the problem, maybe he'll be the solution. I guess they had talent. There was a lot of 5-stars there on the line last year. There was a couple 5-stars, a couple 4-stars, a lot of experience, and they weren't very good. That's for sure. And I haven't used this much lately, although, guys like Bob from Pike Road, maybe not Bob, but John Dent have said, this Bediako thing, if it was Auburn, Barry would say it was great. No, it's wrong. It's wrong. Same thing here. Let's use that here. Okay. If this was Auburn firing their offensive line coach like it was, and with a holdover head coach, I mean, everybody got let go after ultimately almost everybody except Durkin got let go after Freeze left. I guess he was told to fire that offense. Did he really want to fire? So I'll use that. It's not an Auburn, Alabama thing, but I'll serve it up there.
Okay.
Did Kalen DeBoer? I mean, it was late. It was after the transfer portal closed.
Isn't it convenient how that always happens like that?
And all that. It happened late. But did he really? I mean, it didn't seem like he never said anything about it. But all of a sudden, the drumbeat had been hot and heavy at TigerInsider.com and among the Red Elephant Club and all that. Got to get rid of our offensive line coach because we fire at least one every off season. And he said, and somebody told him, hey, Kalen, man, you got to fire that offensive line coach.
Yeah,
no, you've got to fire. You like your job, right?
Yeah.
That may have been one of those where he was kind of pushed.
I can't confirm or deny that. I don't know who the pushers would be. I know they got some heavy hitters, but I don't know if Paul Jr.'s into that kind of stuff anymore, and if he ever was. I don't know. But I do think that Kalen DeBoer's got to be smart enough to realize our offensive line was not very good, and we got to make some changes. So, as happens a lot of times in this profession, the assistant coaches take the fall. And it was probably good for this guy to move on and do other things. Look, just because I don't know this new offensive line coach doesn't mean that, he's good, bad, or indifferent. Just I never heard of him.
Wait a minute. Is there come on. Tell me who was knocking this guy's door down.
I can't tell you that.
Was he the hot commodity? Was everybody like, we have to have him? And Alabama got lucky and landed his signature on a contract?
I would probably think the best offensive line coach is kind of like a referee. You don't want to notice them at the game. They're not there to be noticed. Some want to be noticed, particularly in basketball, but same thing with offensive line coaches. I can't really remember a lot of Alabama's previous offensive line coaches, but I remember Jimmy Fuller, and I remember him for one reason, because they weren't any good. If you have a good offensive line, you rarely know who the offensive line coach. You rarely have conversations with your boys. Man, that O-line coach, he's getting it done.
I don't know about anybody else, but man, that O-line coach is killing it.
When the O-line's not any good, directly on the coach. Man, this coach is terrible.
Actually, since you do bring that up, we can expand that. Everybody get together, chat line and everything. and let me know who are the truly memorable, great offensive line coaches. And was Joe Kynes an offensive line coach?
I think he was.
I know Don Dunn
so
and Herb
good,
Hand.
he got to be the head coach.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point, actually. Nobody really knew who Chris Kapilovich was, and if he had been just absolutely knocking it out of the park, everybody would have been saying, man, boy, do we have some good offensive line coach. There may even have been a sports talk host who said, man, I could coach that offensive line. But since they underachieved significantly, all of a sudden everybody says, Coach Cap got to go. Got to go. I don't care what else happens. We have got to get rid of our offensive line coach. But yeah, who really – John's right about referees, now that I think about it. I'm glad he's back. Who really notices referees? Golly, guys, I know we lost. Golly, that field goal killed me on the total. But, man, that back judge, holy smokes, he was dead on the whole night. Always in position, always, turned his shoulder the right way on the inside slant so he can get a good look. I don't know. That's – we've seen the sandpaper game. I mean, the sandbox game. We've seen the mountaintop game. Man, we got to call this one the back judge game because that guy was dead. Same thing with an offensive line coach. Holy smokes, our O-line coach may be the best in America. Really? What do you like most about him? Plus, the other thing about offensive line coaches, John, you never see an offensive line coach that's like 6'4", 175. Yeah. Every offensive line coach is 6'1", 280, 6 feet, 305, something like that. You can usually, if you see the yearly photograph of each year's team's coaching staff, you can pretty easily pick out the O-line coach and the D-line coach more than anybody else.
Yeah, you don't see many thin, short O-line coaches.
Yeah.
If they're short, they're wide.
Yeah.
And if they're tall, they're still a little thick, hefty. Hey, not that there's anything wrong with that, just pointing it out.
Now,
you see a lot of thin, fast O-line coaches. If you do, you got a problem.
One more coming up before we go to break. This from Bob from Pike Road. He's talking with Jeff.
Great job.
Always offsides, Jeff. He said the biggest weakness on the whole team at Bama was Grubb. Plain and simple. He leaves Seattle in December 2024, which means, he got fired. Yep. And the Seahawks go from number 30 to top 5 in rushing. Bama's rushing sinks like the Titanic. What happened the year after Jeff Grubb leaves the Seahawks?
Yeah, they're in the Super Bowl.
Anybody?
That you can't avoid that. I mean, it's like, hey, man, don't look at that guy's eye. It's got some pus oozing out of it. Just don't look. You're going to look. Yeah. Same thing with Seattle. I mean, you don't want to talk about it, but it's true. They've gone from worst to first, basically. I mean, not to actually, but close enough in rushing, where Alabama's rushing attack stunk. And there again, I'm not putting it all on Grubb because I think the offensive line play was average at best. And I just don't think Alabama's got any really good running backs. I've said it 100 times. How many times have you ever watched an Alabama football team that didn't have at least one bell cow go-to running back? I can't remember a team that did not have that in play. The 2025 Alabama team did.
And some changes have to be made. I get that. Also, several other issues in a larger macro sense.
So I'm taking it just in the 15 minutes that we've been talking. Maybe the Bediako topic has been more of a, buzz than the O-line hiring, the hiring of the O-line
Maybe
coach?
So, because there's also some other stuff going on around it. The temporary restraining order has been extended because the NCAA attorney couldn't get to Tuscaloosa because of the ice storm and all that. So he's going to be playing for at least another 10 days.
Missouri got to Tuscaloosa last night. You're telling me the attorney couldn't? Hell, I flew halfway. I flew across country yesterday. I got home in time.
If I'm the NCAA,
what?
I'm getting him his own private plane. I don't care if you got to fly it to Destin and have him drive up or whatever. Yeah. I wondered about that too. We're underway. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry is Central Alabama's best-known jewelry store. Their location at 8163 Vaughn Road in Peppertree is conveniently located adjacent to Chappie's Deli. At Marguerite's, they have every jewelry item imaginable because they make it. They really make it. From rings, necklaces, bracelets, earrings, and much, much more. Marguerite's can also repair, clean, and rework any jewelry item that you want to bring back to life. Whether you're on a budget or have no budget at all, Marguerite's has all types of jewelry for everyone. Go by and see them today or call 270-0074.
Hey, bro, weirdest thing is happening at the game. This guy sitting next to me says, "You're our good luck charm." Every time I crack a Bud Light, we score a touchdown. Now his entire family wants to buy me Bud Lights. I think I'm some kind of a football prophet. Talk soon. The team needs me.
Anything for Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Stock up today. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
The Start Something New sales event is on at Stivers, Alabama's #1 CDJR dealer. Grand Cherokee's under 30 grand or up to 15 grand off. Wranglers 12 grand off and Gladiators 16 grand off. Only at Stivers, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. The Start Something New sales event is on at Stivers, Alabama's #1 CDJR dealer. New Rams 19 grand off or 0% for 6 years. And heavy duties 12 grand off. Backed by Ram's 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Only at Stivers, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram.
Okay, welcome back in, everybody. Glad you're with us. About 21 minutes past the hour. There was a basketball game last night. I know we did kind of touch on it last night. Was able to watch a little bit of that, as a matter of fact, on my way home. And kind of tight early, Barry. I mean, Missouri was kind of making a game of it, and then I'm not sure they showed up in the second half.
Yeah, it was a 13-point lead for Alabama at halftime. They had a late surge. John's right. And then Alabama outscored them by 13 in the second half. Bediako started, got his first start. I don't know that he ever started a game when he was at Alabama before. Maybe he did, but again, he played like a pro. There's some Tennessee fans who are still trying to, gig Alabama for Alabama having Bediako and Tennessee coming down and winning that game. They are going. This is the thing. The Tennessee fans are voting in mass for Charles Bediako to make the G League All-Star team. So maybe he'd have to miss a little time at Alabama to go play in the G League All-Star game. But he had 14 points, 4 or 5 from the floor. But and his main value is going to be defensively. But it wasn't. I mean, he wasn't the difference in the game. The difference in the game was that Alabama made 15 3-pointers. They made 15 3-pointers. They made 10 2-pointers. They made 25 baskets total. 15 of them came from the 3-point line, and that was Reitzel. He took 11 shots. 10 were 3-pointers, and he made 7 of them. He ends up with 21. Man. That's how it's supposed to look when you're doing what you do under Nate. And I bet of those 10 2-pointers, every one of them was in the paint. The coaches call them wood threes. Those are wood shots, wood twos, where the shot is not in the paint, the floor is not covered by paint, and it's not outside the arc. It's where the wood is. Alabama doesn't shoot any except under absolute duress, and that's they played the way they wanted to play last night, and Missouri didn't have much at all to do.
If you played like when we did, a wood shot would be one off of the backboard because the backboard was wooden. We didn't have fiberglass backboards back in the day. You bounced it off the wood.
We've got one of our players at Troy. Everybody gives him a hard time because he loves bank shots. Oh. He'll bank in a 3 every once in a while. Just, and I'm thinking, that is a Longshore kind of player. So Alabama wins. They've got Florida.
Ooh.
coming up.
Is that a Sunday game I saw?
Sunday at noon.
Huh.
So all you heathens are going to be able to watch tip-off, either that or, my church, we start at 10. So I'm usually okay. We go eat lunch and all that. But a noon Sunday start. Alabama is in Gainesville to take on Florida. ABC. Noon on Sunday. What else is ABC? That's a huge deal for Alabama. Auburn goes in, and they win at Florida for the first time in 30 years. And they win by 9 against the defending national champions. Alabama goes in, and it was famously said, I guess, Florida head coach Todd Golden, who, again, won the national championship last year. He was on a podcast last week, and somebody was asking him about the Bediako thing. And he said, yeah, good player. We said, it doesn't matter. We'll beat him. We'll beat him even if they have him. He said, we'll beat him even with – we're better than they are. Well, Sunday is going to be the time to check that out. That'll be good.
It is. Can he put his money where his mouth is? Hey, so I think his team's better. We'll see.
Auburn is at home. Auburn, of course, coming off the win against Florida. They're at home against Texas tonight. That'll be on ESPN2 over at Neville Arena. So that kind of catches you up.
Is that an 8 o'clock tip tonight? Is that the late game?
No, it's the 6. It's the 6
okay.
Good
nice.
window for that one as well. Another issue, I was going to bring it up later.
Let me go back to this NCAA guy. Like DFW Airport was closed down. I think Houston was for a minute as well. You telling me Texas got out to Auburn, but the NCAA guy couldn't get to Tuscaloosa? Wait a minute.
See, I think that did make me wonder. That did make me wonder because I think the NCAA's got a good case, right?
Yeah.
I think they got a good chance.
Yeah.
The response from Bediako's lawyers about, the NCAA's motion for the judge who issued the temporary restraining order to recuse himself because he is an Alabama booster. And, he's an Alabama graduate, went to law school there or something. He's a booster and all that. Their response was, well, Bediako doesn't know him. He doesn't have any sort of a relationship with Bediako. Alabama itself, the university, is not a plaintiff or a participant in this lawsuit. So his relationship with Alabama, the university, shouldn't have any bearing
and Barry,
on
this
the
goes
ruling
back
that he
to,
made. And I'm thinking, that won't stand up. The NCAA's got a shot at that one.
And not to bring this up again, but I did not know any of that information until I read Phillips' piece over the weekend. Not only did he name the judge in his article, he let us know that allegedly, I don't know how he would know he's a booster, what constitutes being a booster, that he has made speeches to groups on campus. I mean, he did some really in-depth investigating and reporting on this judge and this Bediako case and, his opinions on it as well. I'm thinking, wow, what if the NCAA read that and thought, man, we need to we got a pretty good chance now. Thanks, Philip. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know why some, AL.com guy didn't write that. Goodman or whatever these guys are over there. Casagrande.
AL.com.
I don't know. Leave it to Philip to do the hard digging.
Well, it's not just Philip. I have been, I haven't been maniacal about it. I haven't been obsessive about it, but I have yet to run into a coach, a media member, anybody who thinks this is great. Man, I'm so glad that it seems like everybody says, hey, now, they're talking about common sense here. Let's use a little common sense or let's think about this. There's not a whole lot of media members who say, by gosh, this is absolutely horrible, except for that AP voter who did not vote for Alabama basketball because he's not going to vote for a team that he says circumvents the rules. But everybody else,
as we said before I left last week, let's see how this ruling plays out. Because if it plays out in Bediako's favor, you're going to see a lot of other teams doing it too.
They're getting ready. They're doing their due diligence right now. They're looking around saying, okay, if this thing stands, who we going to get? Who we, you
Yeah.
know?
I mean, personally, I don't like it. I'm thinking you're really going to a lot of trouble. Is it going to really make that much difference? Yeah, I know you need a guy in the middle, but do you go to these extremes? But there again, I
We'll
don't coach
see.
basketball. Personally, I don't love it, but very personally, I don't love kids transferring 4 times.
Well,
And I'm not real thrilled about them getting $4 million playing college football. But it is what it is. That's the environment in which we live today.
Later on, we'll go over a couple of other things that I want to know if John is in love with. The NCAA has sanctioned the use of patches on team uniforms.
We talked about that last week, too.
But they can't be more than this big, and you can't have more than 4, so let's not go crazy. There's a lot of things I want to know.
Only thing missing from that news release, and I did see that, along also that we're staying with the 12-team playoff, but there's been a couple of adjustments that if they would have been in place 3 months ago, Miami wouldn't have been in the playoff. But more on that later. But, Barry, I'm telling you, the patch is just the first step.
Hey, no doubt.
The patch is the first step. More logos on the field, and get ready for uniform changes, alterations, tweaks, little adjustments here. Bama fan, Auburn fan, I'm telling you, they're coming. Get ready.
Well, also coming and getting ready is C.J. Duncan, who joins us in just a moment from the green room as we roll on with Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com. Prattville Carpet is the most trusted name in flooring in the River region. Ray Bowles and his staff have an extensive line of Mohawk stain-resistant carpeting in all the latest styles and colors. Prattville Carpet also has hardwood, vinyl, and ceramic tile for all of your flooring needs. Professionally installed at the absolute lowest prices. Take advantage of cash and carry vinyl plank at just $239 a foot. Call them today to set up your free measurement for your home, office, lake house, hunting camp, or wherever you need flooring. 285-8117. That's 285-8117, or drop by 2201 Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville for Prattville Carpet.
All guests of Longshore McKnight appear on the City of Montgomery guest hotline. Check out the most interesting and informed personalities in sports covering Auburn, Alabama, Troy, ASU, and all the major teams from across the country. John and Barry have the best guests brought to you by the City of Montgomery. To find out everything you need to know that is going on in the capital city, check out montgomeryal.gov. That's montgomeryal.gov, the capital of dreams.
Okay, we got about 27 minutes to the top of the hour on this Wednesday. So glad you're with us. Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy in association with our good friends at Yellowhammer News and yellowhammernews.com. And that's where we bring in our man CJ Duncan with Yellowhammer News as he joins us each and every Wednesday. Hey, CJ, how you doing today?
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
Doing really well, doing well. I want to begin by talking to you about something that you've had experience in, but we haven't talked about it much lately, and that's the NFL. The NFL playoffs. We've gotten through what John always says is the best weekend in the NFL, and that's the conference championship games. Have you ever played in as much snow as Denver and New England played in the second half of their game in Denver?
Never. Matter of
Oh
fact,
my gosh.
I was sitting there watching the game, texting some buddies of mine. I'm like, I can't even see the football, and I'm not there, so I can't imagine what the corners and receivers are dealing with right now. And even Jarrett Stidham, I mean, what a tough spot to be in. But you're playing against a team that's wearing all white, so can you see them down the field covering your guy? I bet that was very tough on from his perspective. But honestly, that's one of the coolest games you can watch, though. Too, I love to see it. It just feels like old school football, and you can really tell who the good coaches are and who aren't in those scenarios because you really have to manage the clock. You have to understand that, hey, look, we may not score a lot of points going in a certain direction, and the other we may be able to get a field goal or two. But your real football IQ comes out when games like that happen.
You mentioned Jarrett Stidham, CJ. I mean, I know the score doesn't indicate that, it was a low scoring game. Weather was a factor. And if you just kind of forget about that backwards pass attempt or whatever it was that led to New England's touchdown, I thought Stidham played pretty well.
Yeah, you know what? I think Jared, deserves a lot of credit. A really tough spot to come in. I think that New England's defense doesn't get enough credit. I think they
I
have a
agree.
excellent defense. They have all pros at each level of their defense. I think he's going to get an opportunity at some point. I think his biggest thing, to your point, is just not turn the ball over. As long as he can take care of the ball, I think he showed that he has immense talent. I don't necessarily remember him, having the arm that he showed this past weekend, and that's after 2 years of sitting out. Imagine if he gets a little rhythm and starts to get kind of used to this thing. He could actually be a pretty decent quarterback. So I thought he showed well. He showed a lot of poise, a lot of confidence, but it was an impossible situation. In the third quarter, you're going into the third quarter, the first few minutes of the third quarter, the sun's still out. And then halfway through the third quarter, it's a blizzard. No other quarterback, whether you're a backup or not, is dealing with that perfectly. So I don't blame him for that.
The guy Borigalis, I think is his name, from New England, and Will Lutz from Denver. They're lining up for those field goals, and they've got to be thinking, man, I got no shot. Ugh.
No.
That's
And the wind's blowing sideways. And I feel bad for the punters. Just dropping the ball on your foot becomes very difficult at that point too. New England had a couple punts that went 20 yards.
You can't practice that. There's no way you can practice, maybe once or twice in the snow and the wind, but those guys aren't practicing in those conditions.
No way. No, there's no way to do that. Because you also don't, in the NFL, you don't want to risk injury. They don't practice a whole lot to begin with, especially full speed, but they're definitely not doing it during a blizzard.
one more thought about field goals, CJ. I think one of probably the most iconic play of the entire college football season was Cignetti pulling his field goal unit off the field on fourth down and going for it, and Mendoza is getting knocked around all over the place, stretching across. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fourth down play that actually worked out. I think that play was injurious to every other kind of football because Sean Payton doesn't get the field goal on fourth down inside the 20, doesn't try for it. They go for it and don't get it. Sean McVay for the Rams against the Seahawks leaves points out there on fourth down when, it's a chip shot. You take the points, right? Anytime you get a chance. How do you feel about all of a sudden the sudden analytical surge in college and the NFL? The heck with a field goal, I'm going for.
Guys, I'm telling you, we got to talk to the brass at Yellowhammer, see if we can start live tweeting these games, because I said the exact thing. You got to take the points. Just think about how the game was going at that point. You're playing with a backup quarterback. You're at home, but New England hadn't crossed the 50 yet. They, your defense
Yeah.
is playing incredible. 10 points feels like a mountain to New England right now. If you put 10 points on the board, now they start pressing even more. And if you have 10 points before the blizzard comes through, now you're really cooking, right? And so I think in that situation, blizzard or no blizzard, backup quarterback, defense playing excellent. You're at home. You take the points every single time. Now, later on in the night, the Rams had a similar scenario and they went for it. And I actually agree with them going for it. One, they're on a heater. They have 2 Hall of Fame receivers and a Hall of Fame quarterback. They're down by 4 points. You take that chance. And I understand that. But in the Denver game, backup quarterback, your defense is playing out of their mind. Drake May's struggling. New England's also not really running the ball super well. The only thing that was working for New England at the time was the quarterback run.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know what else. It feels like an easy decision, but I'm not playing in an AFC Championship game. And analytics, like you said, they have taken over our game, and I think guys are overthinking it. I really do.
Before we go any further, you guys stop texting me. I'm getting texts right now saying I'm in. CJ, John, and Barry live texting, live tweeting that. Guys, we'll look for sponsors later on. Well, no, that's just off the top of his head right there. We're not against it, but give us a moment here to finish the show before you swap my phone.
Yeah, no doubt. Kind of like our River Region Straw chat line. A lot of good comments and suggestions there as well. We really appreciate all that input and people getting involved with what we do on our River Region Straw chat line. And hey, speaking of that, Barry, as cold as it's going to be over this these next few days and this weekend coming up, you better give Kenny a call or a text because you're going to need some of that seasoned firewood to stay warm going down in the 20s over the weekend and in the early part of next week. Kenny will have that firewood for you to stay warm, 669-5959. CJ, don't think we brought it up last week, but as a collegiate athlete, how would you have felt when you were at Vanderbilt if some professional, whether it's, Canadian League, whatever it may be, came back to Nashville and joined the Vanderbilt football team in the middle of the season, similar to what's going on in Tuscaloosa with Charles Bediako?
You know what? If we're the guinea pigs, I tell the guy to go get a job, man. You're trying to take our jobs, and we just got here, But the situation is there's no perfect way to handle it. If you're in Alabama's shoes, it's like, well, we're going to end up playing against guys like him, right? And so, what do you want us to do? And I think I heard a quote or saw a quote. Where Nate Oates said, hey, look, we're trying to help this kid out. Basketball hadn't necessarily been going in his favor lately. He wants to get his degree. Who are we to stop him from getting his degree? And he's going to play basketball in the process. That's fine by me. It is a flawed system. It is a really flawed system. And there's no perfect way to handle it. But at some point, we have to state the obvious and we have to man up and actually just address it. And we're trying to, I think the NCAA in a lot of ways, they're trying to act like it's not going to happen or at least it's going to blow over, but it's not. I know, guys, we've talked about it months ago, maybe even a year ago, that, hey, this kind of portal thing, this whole, amateur status thing is out of whack. We said that. And every year we get another loophole where it just doesn't feel right, where you've got these guys playing, Carson Beck playing until he's 28 years old or whatever he is, it's not right. And we've got to change it. But if you're Alabama, I think Kentucky did the same thing. So when you're playing against Kentucky, do you want to be outmanned there? Do you want to be outflanked? Probably not. So you gotta play the game until they fix it.
CJ, the Senior Bowl practices are going on right now, and one of the things that people have fixated on, what the drill is. The first couple of days, they They weigh you publicly. They see how tall you are. They, do all the different measurables that they can. And it feels like a meat market. I can understand. Vanderbilt had listed in the programs and on their online roster that Diego Pavia was 6 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out he's 5'9.5". Is that a deal? And boy, everybody's making a big deal. You can't draft a 5'9" quarterback. Well, if he can play, he can play. Is that a deal breaker, do you think, for somebody like that? How much do you think the physical measurables, just how big and how tall you are, play into a team's decision to draft or not to draft?
So I'll defend Vanderbilt first. You got to have a little gamesmanship,
Yeah,
right? You
I
can't have a
love it.
team.
Oh, yeah.
You can't have
Yeah.
a team coming into your stadium feeling good about themselves. They, feeling confident that they're playing against a 5'9" quarterback. So you got to smudge it a little bit.
Yeah, I get that.
But from Diego's perspective, that's a tough that's a tough deal there. If I'm his agent, I probably avoid it if I can. Kyler Murray went through the same situation several years ago, where he wouldn't let anybody measure him until it was mandatory, and multiple teams even reached out to his team and said, hey, you have to be at the combine because you have to get measured. We're not going to draft you 1 overall if you don't get measured. And he ended up being 5'10" and change. I say all that to say Kyler Murray, just imagine, think right now, watching Kyler Murray for the Arizona Cardinals right now. He looks pretty small out there, right?
He does.
He's got an inch on Diego. So that is that's really tough on his behalf. I mean, he's a great football player.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of great collegiate football players who haven't necessarily panned out in the NFL. I hope it works out for Diego, but me personally, as a receiver and a guy who's done it, and I was a quarterback as well, and a shorter quarterback at that. But I think I had Kyler and Diego by a couple inches. I was just born a little too early, So
Yeah.
but
Is Baker
it's
Mayfield
tough.
6 feet?
I think Baker's there. I do
Is he?
think
Okay.
Baker's there. Yeah, Baker's there. Bryce Young is not 6 feet. And he's kind of small of stature as well.
Yeah.
But he's taller than 5'9" though. I think Bryce may have Kyler, but he's just small stature. Kyler may be an inch shorter, but he's thick,
thicker.
and he may be one of the fastest guys in the NFL, truly. So it's the package in which it comes in. If you're short, you have to have something else that is special. I don't know that Diego has that. Arm is not great. Doesn't have elite speed either. He's just a competitor. He's a winner. He's gritty. He's all these things. But I tell you what, the NFL is a different ballgame. You got to have something special about you. And so I wish the best for him, but 5'9" is really hard to invest money into. And that's what it comes down to.
And I'm thinking of smaller quarter. I mean, Drew Brees wasn't very tall. I guess he was 6 feet.
Doug Flutie, my guy, Doug
Flutie. Yeah.
Barry, that's the name I think him and his team need to lean on. Is he's more Doug Flutie than he is Brees or Wilson or any of those guys. Those guys are short, but they're short relative to Tom Brady. They're not short guys. If they were walking around Montgomery, we wouldn't think they're short. Doug Flutie is the name that they need to really lean into. Doug Flutie made it happen. Give us a shot to make it happen.
He's your comp, right? He's your comparison. You're floating out.
Sure,
buddy.
CJ, did you ever play in any All-Star games when your college career was over?
You know what? I did not. My brother played in the NFLPA out in LA, and we went and supported him in the Rose Bowl. I say all the time, I may have gotten a bad deal with my agent, but that's a story for another day. But
I just wonder, the reason I ask, I just have always wondered, does it really help or hurt playing in a Senior Bowl or an East-West Shrine game? Or whatever the ones they have today.
Or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, do they not? I would think they already know you can play by the time you go to an all-star game.
Personally, I think the only game that truly matters is the Reese's game down in Mobile. I don't know if they still call it that, but the Senior
They
Bowl
do,
down in
yeah.
Mobile. That's
And
the
it's
only
not,
game
and it's not the game necessarily.
Yeah.
It's not playing in the game. The game
It's
is
the
an active
practices.
Yeah.
Yeah. That because a lot of the scouts and GMs and coaches, they leave before the game even happens. Actually, they watch you at practice and they move on. I do think that one really matters. I think that it has changed people's draft grades. I think it has changed what round they've gone in. They've made a lot of money going down to Mobile. The rest of them, I don't see it as much. I have seen guys go from East Shrine to Reese's, right? They've played so well at East West that somebody said, hey, they tell one media guy or one brass at these all stars that, hey, look, this kid has an opportunity to go second round or first round or whatever it is, and they ship him down to Mobile to play against more of the first and second round talent, quote unquote. So I've seen that happen before, but really, the Reese's is kind of the creme de la creme. And, we saw Jackson Dart fly up boards because of that. And, every year you kind of see a guy change his draft status due to the Reese's game. I never really saw that due to NFLPA or East West. No offense to their organizations, but I just have not seen it make a huge difference.
I know we'll talk about this more next week to get your official pick, but are you leaning one way or the other for the Super Bowl?
I am. For whatever reason, I don't know what it is. So I've always had this fascination with North Carolina as a university.
Right.
And even in middle school, I used to wear a North Carolina pullover. And so I've always just, from a distance, always kept up with North Carolina. My wife's family's from North Carolina, so that made sense as well. They have a lot of ties to the Tar Heels. And so back in the day, they had this quarterback whose brother also played on the basketball team in North Carolina. And I said, man, this kid can really sling the ball. I'm watching him at North Carolina. I'm like, this guy feels like a new age version of Matthew Stafford at Georgia. The way he would just like sling guys off of him, then throw it off his back foot and it'd go 80 yards, whatever it is. I've always had a fascination for it. So, now, you fast forward the clock and now you're watching New England Patriots go to the Super Bowl with Drake May. And Drake May's, I've been a fan of his for a while. And I'm excited to see him in the bowl, and also Mike Vrabel as well. Mike Vrabel got the short end of the stick in Tennessee. I think they treated him extremely, bad. He is an excellent coach. Seems like an excellent guy. The guys really listen to him and hear him, and they play like that. And so I'm just excited to see those two compete. And I love the fact that I think it opened up at 5.5 or 4.5, and it's like, man, that's the rat poison or whatever Saban used to say that they needed, man. Like, we've gotten this far, 9-0 on the road, and you're still doubting us.
Yeah,
we hadn't lost a game on the road yet.
Nobody's done that before.
And so I really like what they're doing in New England. I'm rolling with those guys.
There you go.
For the Super Bowl. I really
love
do
it.
Always great stuff, CJ. Thank you so much for the time. We look forward to next week.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure, guys. Looking forward to next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. That's CJ Duncan, Yellowhammer News, joining us as he does each and every week. Always enjoy his input and analysis. He is really, really good. We appreciate his time.
One more thought about the Super Bowl quarterbacks.
Yep.
No other school in America has had more quarterbacks drafted in the NFL draft than USC. USC has had 26 quarterbacks selected in the NFL draft. Sam Darnold is the first one to ever start a Super Bowl.
Wow.
They have never, Pat Hayden, Mark Sanchez, Carson Palmer, They have combined to go 0-5 in conference championship games. Pat Hayden did it twice. Mark Sanchez did it twice. Carson Palmer with the Cardinals did it once. That is my favorite stat.
And what I guess, Barry, if Bo Nix hadn't have gotten hurt, he would have been the second Auburn quarterback to have a chance to play in the Super Bowl. We all know who the other one was.
To play in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, didn't Cam Newton play in the Super Bowl?
Well, he started one. Was there ever another Auburn quarterback that played or that was on a team?
I feel like it's been a couple of days that you probably haven't had a Cam Newton reference, and I thought we were probably due for one.
Well, let's see. We got Philip Marshall out of the way. That's a no-brainer. That's in the first 5 minutes. John is obsessed with Philip Marshall. There's been a Bo Nix and a Cam Newton late in the first time. We're on schedule. Let's take a break. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Hey, folks, how often do you think about your roof? Probably not often at all. I know I didn't until I needed a roof replacement. And I call my friends at Roof Life. Whether it's roof inspections, roof repair, or insurance roof replacement, Roof Life is there for you. They use the highest quality products, top quality craftsmanship, and if you're like me, your roof can be replaced in one day. So if you're in need of a roof inspection, roof repair, or insurance roof replacement, get in touch with my friends at Roof Life today. You can go to roofyourlife.com. That's roofyourlife.com, or dial them up locally at 334-306-6712. That's 334-306-6712.
Hey, where's the beer guy? Bud Light here? You got a Bud Light? Bud Light? I'm here, Bud Light. Bud Light here? Bud Light here? Bud Light here? Bud Light where? Bud Light here? Oh, Bud Light there. I missed that because of you. You did not miss that play because of me. Tough to stop talking this way? Yeah. It's actually kind of fun. Hey, I got your Bud Light. Oh, nice. Never mind. Anything for the clean, crisp taste of Bud Light. What'd I miss? I have no idea.
Local banking expertise, the newest innovations and technology, personal attention, genuine hospitality. It's all just part of the Riverbank and Trust difference. They invite you to experience it for yourself. Welcome to banking above and beyond at Riverbank and Trust. Locations throughout the River region, locations throughout the state of Alabama. Riverbank and Trust.
All righty, welcome back in, everybody. Getting close to the top of the hour. Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light in association with our good friends at Yellowhammer News and yellowhammernews.com. You can also check us out on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, on X, Spotify, Apple Tunes, you name it. Whatever's more convenient for you to watch and or listen to the show. We do it live from 7 to 9, but we have it out there for you to be able to check out on your schedule, which makes it so so convenient for so many of our viewers and listeners, and we hear from you, and we appreciate it. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, tell your friends about it, and we really appreciate it.
This is one of the things that for college football historians like me, that the current state of college athletics really kind of screws up. Because I was looking over it. There have been 3 former quarterbacks at Auburn who have had Super Bowl rings or have played in the Super Bowl. Cam Newton, Jared Stidham was on the Patriots team that won their last Super Bowl. He was a backup. And Bobby Hunt, who played quarterback at Auburn but was a defensive back for the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl I. Didn't play quarterback in the Super Bowl. Didn't play at all. So I did a little searching. Auburn has had 3 quarterbacks who have played in the Super Bowl. One of them played as a defensive back. The school that has produced the most Super Bowl starting quarterbacks is the University of California. Aaron Rodgers, Jared Goff, Craig Morton, who was the Cowboys starting quarterback before Staubach, and Joe Kapp, who started for the Vikings one year. it says there are 3 schools tied with 3 former quarterbacks who have started in the Super Bowl. Notre Dame with Darryl LaMonica, Joe Theismann, Joe Montana. Purdue with Drew Brees, Len Dawson, and Bob Greasy. And Alabama with Bart Starr, Ken Stabler, and, of course, Broadway Joe.
Oh, yeah.
But that's where it's screwed up, John. That's where this world of college football is screwed up.
Okay.
Jalen Hurts started a Super Bowl, and this list that I'm looking at says how many Oklahoma quarterbacks have started a Super Bowl? 1. Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, some schools don't. You wrap your career up somewhere else. Okay, it's good for you.
Yeah.
Others still. Well, he graduated from here, so he's still one of us. Oh, okay,
Unbelievable.
Seemed like he couldn't get out of there quick enough. But to each his own, they say.
Auburn has 1 quarterback who has started a Super Bowl, and that was Cam Newton.
Cam Newton. Yeah.
Do the Florida Gators say, hey, hang on a minute. What about, he went to school, Auburn has had 1, tying them with Southern Miss.
Yeah.
Eastern Illinois, that was Jimmy Garoppolo. Louisiana Tech with Terry Bradshaw. Northern Iowa with Kurt Warner. Grambling with Doug Williams. Alcorn State with Steve McNair. Auburn's tied with Alcorn State.
Oh, boy. Wow.
That's
still a little bummed, Barry, that Cam didn't make first ballot College Football Hall of Fame.
Speaking of that, was this a diss? Because yesterday, the Pro Football Hall of Fame had their vote to see, who gets in next year's class.
Okay.
Bill Belichick, for the first time, was on the ballot. He did not get in. Belichick did not get in. There are 50 Hall of Fame voters for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, the one in Canton. And you have to get 80% of the vote. Belichick has won 8 Super Bowls. Not just appeared in, he's won 8. Second winningest coach of all time, and is not a first ballot Pro Football Hall of Famer. Is it like the insinuations from people have said about Cam, that they kind of know that he was cheating, or they don't like his woodchuck park ranger hat that he wears now, or anything like that? Or are there people out there who think that he was involved in the Spygate scandal and the Deflategate, where they deflated footballs for the other team and all that? That sounds a little petty to me.
Yeah, it really does. I just feel for him. And got snubbed 15 years ago by some tennis player in Tennessee, and now they're snubbing him as a first ballot College Football Hall of Famer. Even Mark Ingram chimed up about it. He thought it was a travesty.
For those of you who are on the betting line here, we do have the Phantoms Daily Dog coming up later, even after the flame out 2 days ago with the 76ers. We do have that coming up later. But for those of you who have your sheet out now on the return of Longshore board, technically, he also mentioned Cam Newton in the first hour. He brings up this Cam Newton and tennis player from Georgia and all this
Tennessee.
kind of stuff. From Tennessee, the tennis player from Tennessee. It actually was like 8:02 on our live clock.
Yeah.
But he did mention him in the first hour. So for those of you who bet the trifecta, Phillip, Marshall, Bo Nix, Cam Newton by the end of the first hour, that does count. So that does pay off, even though he also mentioned Cam again in the second hour. So those of you who had really good odds that John was going to do that in the first hour, that's still,
You know, Barry, it's like second nature to me because I don't even remember, or I'm not even conscious that I mentioned Cam Newton in the first hour. It just happens. I was thinking about Cam when you were talking about Super Bowl quarterbacks and things like that. I go, well, I know Cam Newton did, but maybe I said something about Cam in hour number one. I just said it and didn't even know I said it. Huh? It's amazing.
yeah. It's like an alcoholic, you know.
Yeah.
What did I have? What was that? Did I have that?
Huh.
I don't remember that.
Barry, it's been a long standing tradition here on this program over the years on whatever medium it might have been. And it was in radio for quite some time, where every now and then there'll be a unique circumstance where I'll go, I think I recognize that guy. We call it brush with greatness.
Yeah. There are times, many, many, many times, because I've been there, where John will see somebody. We're in a crowded area at a convention, SEC Media Days, speaking event, something like that, where John will nudge me and he'll say, hey, do I know that guy?
Yeah.
And I'll say, yeah, John, he's such and such. And his name is what? And I'm like, yeah. When I'm not there, John's like, all right, that guy looks familiar. I know he's somebody. I wish Barry were here so I could give you his name or whatever, but it still counts as a brush with greatness.
Oh, yeah. There have been times I've come back and had to explain, and Barry will tell me who it is. And, oh, yeah, that's the guy. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But in this case, I actually knew at the instant I saw him who it was.
I
know people are going to find this hard to believe. A former Major League Baseball player with the Los Angeles Dodgers. I think he might even play for the Padres for a minute.
Played in the World Series for the Padres in 1984.
And then I found out Barry, he tried to run
National League Player of the National League MVP.
And I'd forgotten about it, but he actually ran for U.S. Senate. I'd forgotten about that. From the state of California.
Yes.
Barry had a brush with greatness. I think was it number 6 that he wore? Was that his number? I can't remember.
It is.
Steve Garvey at the baggage carousel at the Palm Springs, California airport. I went, first thought was, Steve, you don't have somebody getting your bags for you? You're getting them yourself? Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
Steve Garvey,
make a fortune in Major League Baseball. He's got to get his own bags.
Steve Garvey, John told me that. He didn't show me a picture or anything, but he told me about it. And my immediate thing is there's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way. For two different ways. There's two levels of there's no way. Number one, there was a long period of time where Steve Garvey was my favorite player in the major leagues. If for no other reason than, of course, the Dodgers trained at Dodgertown in Vero Beach, which was about 15 miles south of where I grew up in Central Florida. And I used to go to Dodgertown all the time when I was a kid because my dad had work there. And spring training is the best. I got my picture taken with Don Sutton when he played for the Dodgers. I got my picture taken with Steve Garvey, and I've got it around here somewhere in my studio. My picture taken with Steve Garvey, and it's very interesting to note because 3 years later, Steve Garvey and Don Sutton got into a very famous, huge fight in the locker room with each other at Dodger Stadium because Don Sutton thought Steve Garvey was an absolutely huge phony. Steve was straight arrow, played college football at Michigan State. You know, he was the first baseman for the Dodgers on some of those great teams with Davey Lopes and Bill Russell and Ron Say and all those guys. And he was always squeaky clean and all that kind of stuff. Don Sutton saw right through all that, and I idolized Steve Garvey.
Yeah.
And I mentioned Steve got into a little bit of trouble with his extracurricular life.
I thought I remember something like that.
Yeah, he had a certain zest for living that he kept well hidden, as a matter of fact. He was David Palmer-esque in his private life.
Uh-huh.
And I think that as much as anything is a reason why he is not in the Baseball Hall
really?
of Fame.
Because I would just assumed he was in the Hall of Fame.
He is not.
I
He is
did
not,
not
even though he won the
realize that.
MVP in, I want to say 1974, 1970. Yeah,
So
1974.
was it alcohol related or female related or both?
It was the ladies.
The ladies.
Yeah, which, that kind of stuff goes on in professional.
That'll keep you out of the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame.
That's what I think, Kenny.
Whoa.
I mean, he won a World Series or two with the Dodgers, won the World Series, or played in the World Series with the Padres when they lost to the Tigers in '84. But that's part of it. Part of it is like, man, I got my picture taken when I was 13 with Steve Garvey at Vero Beach at Dodger Town. And I would love to. I would have recognized him in the airport. Was it the airport?
Yep, at the baggage carousel.
At the air, yes, right. You told me that. At the airport, I would have said, "Mr. Garvey, I'm Barry McKnight," and I never do this. But I would have for Steve Garvey. The other, there's no way that Longshore meets Steve Garvey, and it's not me. That's not fair. The other, there is no way that John recognized Steve Garvey.
I'm
standing there telling his buddies, "Hey guys, look, that's former National League MVP and World Series champion Steve Garvey."
I didn't know all that. I knew he played for the Dodgers and the Padres, the World Series. He was actually on a couple of episodes of Love Boat, if I'm not mistaken. That's kind of how I remember him.
Hey, wait a minute. Is that Nipsey Russell?
I'm
wait
telling
a
you, I
minute.
think he was on
Look,
a
check
couple of
that.
episodes. Yeah,
Guys, Adrian Samed. Look at him right there. That's John's frame of reference for some of these brushes.
I mean, just think of all those LA sports stars. I mean, it was Steve Garvey, Kareem, Magic. They were all on Love Boat. They put them on Love Boat. I mean, if Roman Gabriel had been around for the Love Boat, they'd have stuck him on there too. First thing I noticed about Garvey, I'm sitting there with my friends and we're kind of looking. I go, "Hey man, that's Steve Garvey," and they all kind of turn around and went, "Yeah, it is." And he's shorter than I thought he would.
He is. He's about 5'10".
Not a very tall guy. But yeah, he was there getting his own bags. I couldn't believe it. I'm thinking, wow, gee whiz, really? But I tell you one thing, Barry. I think Steve Garvey and Nick Saban have the same hair and makeup guy. Because he still had that young appearance. His hair looked good, and it was colored, and it was, and he's looked like he might have had a little work on the facial area. I just say he's aged well.
Yeah.
I don't know how old Steve Garvey is, but he's aged well.
He's in his 70s, late 70s, mid 70s, something like that. So the treatment of the whole thing. Mr. Garvey, sorry to bother you. I just wanted to say hello.
I looked at my friends. I said, should I go get a selfie with him? Should I go get a picture? Yeah, go do it.
You should have.
And I thought, I don't know, So just a little, chit chat. And I did call him Steve. I didn't say Mr. Garvey. I mean, heck, I'm 62.
Yeah. Hey,
and I just say, Steve, I'm a big fan. I'm from Alabama. I watched you growing up. And he said, oh, yeah, what part? Montgomery. And that was about it.
Did you go up? Well, you didn't get a selfie with Bob Costas either.
No, well,
you were in the men's room.
We were in the men's room when I ran into Bob Costas.
Yeah.
He was at the urinal next to me.
You did not get a selfie with Charles Barkley.
I did. I sure did.
Did you? All right.
Yes.
You got to give it up to Gurn.
I got to figure out where that picture is.
Send it to me, and I'll make sure it gets up there because that's the one that makes me a little nauseous.
Yeah.
John ran down Charles Barkley on a busy street in Manhattan.
55th. He was coming out of a dry cleaner.
Coming out of a dry cleaner on 55th Street, 50 in Manhattan.
It was during March Madness. And
people
he was getting some
all
of his
over
clothes.
the place. This is how John stopped Charles Barkley from across the street. Hey, Chuck, War Eagle.
Whatever it takes.
John said War Eagle, presumably at the top of his lungs. And Charles Barkley turned around, and God bless him, he thought, hey,
Yeah.
There's an Auburn fan.
I can still remember it. He's across the street. You know, the side streets aren't as wide, obviously, as the Fifth
main
Avenue,
boulevards,
Sixth
yeah.
Avenue, all that type of stuff.
The
They're
main
not as
avenues,
wide. And I saw him, and I went, "Hey, Chuck, War Eagle," and he stopped dead in his tracks and turned around, went over and got a picture taken with him. That was a while back, though. That was over 20 years ago because my son was not born at that time.
Yeah,
maybe he was. He was just maybe 2 or 3 by then. I don't know. I have to look it up, but I do have a photo. I did not get a picture when I sat next to Barry Switzer taking a ski boot off. I did not get a picture of Barry.
We never got a picture when we had to do that remote from Albie's restaurant in downtown Auburn at the intersection of College and Magnolia.
Yeah.
No, of Gay Street and Magnolia.
Yeah.
With the young lady, they made us do it, who was the Auburn representative on the Girls of the SEC Pictorial in Playboy.
Yeah.
We did not get a picture with her. She actually offered.
Okay.
And I said, no, I appreciate the offer. I must say no. But she did show us her picture.
She did, and knew exactly where it was.
I was at the point where at that point, if there had been a large hole that had opened up underneath me, I would have. Yeah.
Yeah, I've told that story many a time. I remember that. Yes, you did. Got it. Yeah, there's the picture. Wow, look at that, Barry. That's when I had some hair. Chuck was a little thicker. Like,
unbelievable.
My hair was darker, and I did have some hair. Wow.
He's lost a lot of weight. There's Charles Barkley with his dress shirts that he's going to wear in his television coverage of March Madness. Whew. And he stopped to get his picture taken. At that moment, Charles Barkley thinks, hey, of course I'm going to get my picture taken with an Auburn fan.
I don't know how Gurn picked that one up.
Yeah.
That's a good pull there.
Yeah, way off sides, Jeff. That was the lady. He said a friend of mine was in that Playboy. In fact, I think she was a guest on y'all's show. Yes, she was.
She was.
It wasn't like she was just, there. Whew. We did years later, this is many, many years ago. Years later, there was something we were talking about, and somebody mentioned that lady now works in Prattville, lives in Prattville.
I think you're right.
Got it up. So, yeah.
I think so. Yep. So there it was. Certainly did. Got that brush from greatness. All right. When we come back, Phantom's Daily Dog. And then we're going to check in with Josh Harris at the bottom of the hour for a couple of minutes. And then Lieutenant Governor Will Ainsworth is going to join us around 8:45 this morning, Barry. While I was away, I'm sure y'all talked about it. High School Athletic Association kind of split things up between public and private schools when it comes to postseason competition.
Yeah.
And Lieutenant Governor Ainsworth has chimed in on that. We're going to talk to him about it in about 30 minutes, so about 28 minutes from now.
Tell your friends, because that's sort of a hot topic item around where we live. Make sure they join us for that. And if you don't get time to tell them, just tell them, hey, a little bit later on, you can watch it again and again and again and again right here on Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market at 3750 Norman Bridge Road in Montgomery has the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of America. I'm talking red snapper and grouper, all sizes of Gulf shrimp, jumbo lump crab meat and crab claws, Louisiana Bay oysters, and New Bedford scallops. They are a full-service seafood market and kitchen serving po' boys, dinners, and sandwiches. You know, many well-known restaurants in the river region purchase their seafood from the Destin Connection because they know it's the absolute best. Call ahead and your order will be ready for pickup. The Destin Connection Seafood Market, 3750 Norman Bridge Road. Call 288-4272. That's 288-4272.
It doesn't matter if you're running drills at the park, playing pickup on a Saturday, or sinking the final putt. When you compete with your friends with Michelob Ultra on the line, competition isn't that friendly. The trash talk, next level. And the stakes, oh, those are crystal clear. With only 95 calories and superior smooth taste, it's the ultimate trophy. Superior is worth playing for. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025, Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
The Montgomery Regional Airport is getting better the more you use it. MGM offers multiple nonstop daily flights to Atlanta, Charlotte, Dallas-Fort Worth, and Washington's Reagan National Airport via Delta and American Airlines. And beginning this April, MGM will offer daily nonstop flights to Houston's Intercontinental Airport via United Airlines. All of these cities offer easy connections to destinations all over the country and all over the world. Make travel more cost-effective and less stressful when you utilize your Montgomery Regional Airport. MGM, you can get there from here.
Barry, I was flying into the Montgomery Regional Airport last night, and you'll be happy to know I actually did know somebody on the plane. So that was nice. I mean, there's been a lot of times I get on and go, I don't know anybody on this plane. There's no way I don't know somebody on this. It's happened a lot, but not last night. I actually knew somebody. So that was refreshing. Great trip as well. Easy, great stuff. Just want to shout out to MGM once again for ease of travel. Even during these weather-related issues that a lot of people are experiencing, no problems for us. So it was very nice. Really appreciate that staff out there.
Yeah. Find out more at flymgm.com and travel above.
I think I might have sent you just a little funny text on Friday morning as I was leaving the Montgomery Regional Airport. And I went, hey, I see you, Philly. Okay.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Woo,
I see you.
baby. Yeah, I did see that. And he was right. We mentioned it on Monday. This was after the show on Friday where, John had John was not a part of that. He also sent me a picture out in California of him and a buddy of his, and the buddy is wearing a Troy Trojans baseball cap.
How about that?
Looked good.
How about that?
Yeah.
Sure did.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of Troy baseball hats, I wouldn't think, in California. And I saw this when I noticed it. I said, hey, let's get a pic. My partner is the voice of Troy baseball. And you don't have that hat?
I don't have that hat. I've got 10 jillion hats and about 1 jillion Troy baseball hats. I don't have that one.
Yeah.
I must
so
be
he's representing the Trojans, the real Trojans.
Now I got the other picture that I got from John while he was gone was a screenshot of NBA scores from Thursday.
Correct. And I think I said, I'll see you, Philly. Way to go.
Philly, the 76ers were playing at home against the Houston Rockets.
Correct.
And it took overtime, but the 76ers, this is Thursday night, the 22nd, they beat the Rockets by 6.
Yeah, he did.
Sent me that screenshot. Yeah, 128, 122. He sent me the screenshot with the text, I see you, Philly. Overtime winner, didn't even need the 1.5. And he was right. That was a winner for the Phantom. The mistake that a lot of you make in this kind of thing is you say, hey, I'm going to ride him again. Now, this was, I got to go Philly again with my daily dog. He picked, the Phantom himself picked the NBA game from Monday. He actually called it in to Warren Matthews. He liked the 76ers again. Plus 3.5. The 76ers were a 3.5-point dog at Charlotte against the Hornets. The Phantom said, let it ride. I'm going 76ers again, plus the 3.5 against the Hornets. And on Tuesday, we did mention it, that the Hornets actually covered the 3.5 in their 37-point win. So that one missed by that much. Not only
Now,
did Philly not cover the
I will
3.5,
say
but they lose by 37.
That might have been a Gurn senior selection.
What?
Because I didn't pick that one. You talking about Monday of this week?
Gurn senior, Warren, man.
Yeah.
Okay, man.
Yeah, that's one of his picks. I didn't. My last official daily dog pick was the 76ers plus 1.5 hosting Houston, but I did have, as part of the Phantom 4, the AFC and NFC championship games.
That's true. That is true. Yeah.
We had those on Sunday. The Denver and
New England
game finished 10-7. New England won the game 10-7
in a driving snowstorm.
Didn't matter. We were getting 4.5 with the Broncos at home. Boom, winner. Love it.
There you go.
You mentioned this earlier, Barry. Sean McVay of the LA Rams just kicked the field goal.
Kick the dang field goal, Sean.
I mean, okay, you might have lost 31-30 if you kick the field goal, but you know what? We cover. We don't cover when it's 31-27.
Because the number was
2.5. So just kick the stinking field goal and we cover. We split in the championship games. Won our daily dog. Now, Barry, tonight's daily dog I find interesting.
Okay.
I'm getting a lot of suggestions, if you will.
I imagine you all do.
On the River Region Straw chat line and on the River Region Straw text line, both of them, about games tonight. People seem to love Texas getting 6.5 out of Auburn. Don't really understand why. A lot of people like South Carolina catching 10.5 at home against Florida, saying it's a look-ahead game for the Gators on Sunday afternoon. Could be. Those two games did not stick out to me. A game that did is Tennessee on the road at Georgia catching 2.5.
Both of them pretty good.
Yeah.
Georgia's 16-4. Tennessee is 13-6. It's kind of a rivalry in basketball. All right.
Based on their overall records that you just mentioned, it seems like Tennessee ought to be getting more points. Yeah, I know it's on the road and all, but 2.5 seems a little low. Smells. They're begging you. I'll take Tennessee plus the 2.5 because people are going to love Georgia with that number being that low. Don't fall for it. Vols coming off a big road win in Tuscaloosa, heading back on the road again with some momentum. We're taking the 2.5 in the Vols.
They got the freshman who lit the Tide up for 29. This, again, is a reinforcement of the concept that a lot of you just don't buy that, oh, man, how can you pick Tennessee? I mean, hey, don't matter. Don't matter. You can still hate the color of that god-awful orange, and we do. But, hey, this is business.
We like the color green. You know,
the more green, the better we like it.
Sure. It's like I love them. I can't bet against the Tide. I love them. I'll never bet on Auburn because I hate them. Okay.
This and your man he's got that small smile creeping up on his face that you never see from your local man. He's giving you a slight grin when he hears you say that.
That's what he wants to hear. That's right.
Because he hears that cash register.
Well, let's just what do you say we take a break a little early so we're ready to go? Like
Absolutely.
I said, Josh Harris is going to join us here at the bottom of the hour for a couple of minutes. He maybe not as long as normal, making way for Lieutenant Governor Will Ainsworth. He's scheduled to join us around 8:45 today. So we're kind of, flying by the seat of our pants, if you know it. I've heard that expression before, to make way for our guests coming up in the remaining 30 minutes of our live broadcast.
It's going to be a busy 30 minutes, and it starts right now. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry is Central Alabama's best-known jewelry store. Their location at 8163 Vaughn Road in Peppertree is conveniently located adjacent to Chappie's Deli. At Marguerite's, they have every jewelry item imaginable because they make it. They really make it. from rings, necklaces, bracelets, earrings, and much, much more. Marguerite's can also repair, clean, and rework any jewelry item that you want to bring back to life. Whether you're on a budget or have no budget at all, Marguerite's has all types of jewelry for everyone. Go by and see them today or call 270-0074. You're not buying sticks, stems, and pine cones. You're buying premium long-diddle pine straw from River Region Straw. Kenny and his staff have access to the best pine straw in the River region, full of color that will last all season long. Kenny has locations in Montgomery, Prattville, and Auburn, and no order is too big or too small, from a few bales to an 18-wheeler trailer load. Pickup is available, or your order can be delivered. They can even spread your pine straw if you like. So call or text Kenny today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959 for all of your pine straw needs.
Okay, welcome back in, everybody. Bottom of the hour, our man Josh Harris, Moneyline Magician, joining us here today, as he does each and every Wednesday. Josh, how you doing today, my man?
Doing good.
Outstanding. Glad to have you along here with us. Give us, first of all, your calm, rational, dispassionate appraisal of Alabama's decision to make Charles Bediako a member of the men's basketball team.
I love it. I mean,
I had a feeling you'd say that.
If we needed that help. It's and if they're going to let them play, let them play. The rules are so willy-nilly all over the place. If you can get an advantage, get an advantage. You know, I mean, he needs to he'll acclimate more and more with the team. Hopefully he can stay for another 10 days. Maybe we'll get another ice storm that'll give him another 10 days on top of that. But as long as we can have him, I'm happy to have him on the team. He was a heck of a player. Nothing like having a pro athlete on the team in the middle of the season when you're struggling a little bit.
But a lot of people will say, you know, that are jaded and all that. They say this day and age, they're all pro athletes, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but he was playing against pro level talent. And Charles Bediako was great when he played at Alabama. One of the picks I've got for today is from Baylor. They got a guy that came back from the pros, and he wasn't that good at Baylor. He just had played a little bit afterwards. So I think he's a good player. I like it. I think but something's got to change there, right? I mean, you can't just have players coming back from the NBA. If you take the bias out of there, like you asked originally, no, you can't come back from the G League to come play in college basketball. That's insane. But if it's playing for Alabama, sure, I'll take it.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, you know, Josh, I think that if the ruling goes in favor of Bediako, you're going to have a lot of other teams attempting to try to do the same thing. This holier than thou stuff out there, oh, this is terrible, blah, blah, blah. You let it go Bediako's way, they'll be falling through the cracks all over the country.
And from a money standpoint, they're going to make more money coming back to college more than likely than playing in the G League for 2 years than going and playing overseas. They're going to make, not that you can't make money playing overseas, but you can make good money playing in college. So, I mean, millions. So that's why not from their standpoint.
The money in college for the higher level college player is much better than the money in the G League. That's for sure.
You know, we were talking about this last night coming home. I mean, if you got quarterbacks in college that are making $1-2 million with, talk of schools offering $6.5 million, what does a backup quarterback in the end? What is Jalen Milroe making as the third team quarterback for the Seahawks? Are you making more in college than you would as a third teamer in the NFL?
Oh yeah, absolutely. On a rookie contract as a third teamer, third string in the NFL, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, kids these days, they ought to stay in college if you're an elite quarterback in college, you're probably leaving money on the table going to the NFL. I mean, there's a turning point for everybody. Unless you're just a generational talent and you're going to be a Drake May and go to the Super Bowl in your second year, then you probably should stay in college as long as you can continue. Now it's not stay in college and continue to get that education. It's stay in college and continue to get that money.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's no doubt.
the world has
John
changed.
and I, neither John nor me were elite quarterbacks, and I mean, we had our finger. They were dragging us out, with our fingernails scratching when college was over. We're like, no. I was the quarterback, and we probably talked about this. The quarterback who got signed from Cincinnati, from the University of Cincinnati to Texas Tech, his deal is like for $7 million for 1 year. Shedeur Sanders is a starting quarterback, and for some unknown reason, he made the Pro Bowl yesterday.
Pro Bowler.
He was making like $5.5 million as a starting quarterback in the NFL. Just to give you an idea of the money out there. There are guys out there, you're right. I'd sue the NCAA. I'd make the point, hey, I played junior college. I would do everything I could if I was a guy who's probably not going to be a high-level NFL quarterback to stay in college as much as I can. That's where the money is.
I mean, Brendan Sorsby was good. It is good, but that's a lot of money to pay for Brendan Sorsby. I mean,
yes.
Maybe this is my Indiana comment coming all back to, Brendan Sorsby. But we'll see next year. But I mean, that's crazy. I mean, that's just it's a wild world that we live in right now, and it's almost like you're not going to see any young quarterbacks playing anymore.
They're all older guys.
That's what it's going to be interesting to see is how long do you have to pay a Keelan Russell to stick around? How long do you have to pay an Austin Mack to stick around? Because they're going to go leave and go make money somewhere else. I mean, that's kind of crazy that we've kept Alabama.
Well,
kept both those guys.
That conversation came up as well while I was away. How much are they paying Austin Mack and Keelan Russell to both have them on the roster? You got to think somebody out there was in their ear.
And we need that money, like we were talking about last week on the show. We don't have the money that Texas has, or Texas Tech, or a lot of those West Coast schools, and we're going to have to strategically place our money in the right places. And now you're thinking, I don't know exactly how much money both those guys are making, but that money could be spread out elsewhere to other positions. And to hold two expensive quarterbacks on the roster this is just a crazy that we're even having this conversation.
Yeah.
It's weird. It is weird.
It is very weird.
Did the AFC and NFC championship games go the way that you expected them to go?
Yeah. I mean, pretty much. I mean, Jared Stidham, he, that's good. He had his shot. I wouldn't see that. He's not going to beat Drake May, but I thought Denver might actually have I guess they did have a chance towards the end there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a close game. Denver's defense has gotten them there all year. Bo Nix is a good quarterback. He's not elite though. He didn't get them to where they are. Their defense did. And then, the Seahawks game was close as well. And I'll be surprised if the Patriots can hang around in the championship, in the Super Bowl. I mean, it seems like the Seahawks or the Rams, whoever won that game, was going to dominate. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see. Patriots have had a pretty easy road to the Super Bowl this year, and maybe the easiest. But that doesn't mean that they can't. It's one game. That doesn't mean they can't walk away with a win.
Final question I've got. My theory is that there's a lot of Alabama fans. The only reason why they didn't picket in front of the football building about firing the offensive line coach is because they couldn't spell Kapilovic. Now that he's gone, was that legitimate? I mean, was that necessary? Was that the thing to do?
Yeah, he was horrendous. I mean, our offensive line was horrendous. I mean, and who else do you blame? If it's the whole entire offensive line, someone's got to take the fall for it. Alabama is not supposed to have a bad off. I mean, that's the tide right there. I mean, a big old cornbread fed offensive line that can that make it so that anybody can run the ball back there, that you can run Kenneth Darby up the middle every play and still be okay, then, that's what it reminded me of this year was Darby up the middle with Shula, but even worse.
God, I hadn't thought of Kenneth Darby in forever.
But we got to have an offensive line, and if the offensive line we couldn't pass block, we clearly couldn't run block, and it's not like our running backs weren't talented; those are great recruits. I mean, something had to be done. So sorry, pal.
Well, there's no doubt about that. I mean, just because I hadn't heard of this guy, I guess it doesn't mean a lot. But the guy's been around UCLA, Oregon. Had a cup of coffee in the NFL in a couple of spots, so it couldn't be any worse. I will say that, the way that offensive line had been performing. When we talk to you next week, we're going to want some in-depth money line magician knowledge on Super Bowl 60, some prop bets, some totals, things of that nature. I know you're figuring it all out, and like a fine wine, we don't want to release it before it's time.
I'm locked in. So I'll have the prop bets, the money line bets to where your dollar can go a long way. And
the ones to stay away from too.
And I'll have the ones to stay away from. So those will be the ones that I really like. Those will be the ones that we stay away from.
Appreciate you as always, Josh. Thanks for the input.
Thank you, buddy.
Take care.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Josh Harris, good stuff there, joining us here today on the program. Looking forward to the Super Bowl predictions.
Yes. I'm still kind of formulating some of mine myself. Good to have everybody in here. We've got, I think, 6 straight texts from John Dent. I don't mind the emojis. All I'm saying is that when we put them on the air, sometimes it's difficult to read. I'll try to read them. I'm not against the emojis, but like that one right there, you can't be what it be, or the emojis make it a little bit more difficult. That's all I'm saying. I'll do it, but sometimes it's hard to read it live on the air when they're emojis. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. No big deal. No trigger. It's about 19 before the hour. Will Ainsworth will join us next. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316.
Hey, where's the beer guy? Bud Light here? You get a Bud Light? Bud Light? I'm here, Bud Light. Bud Light here? Bud Light here? Bud Light here? Bud Light where? Bud Light here? Oh, Bud Light there. I missed that because of you. You did not miss that play because of me. Tough to stop talking this way? Yeah. It's actually kind of fun. Hey, I got your Bud Light. Oh, nice. Never mind. Anything for the clean, crisp taste of Bud Light. What'd I miss? I have no idea.
Jim Massey's Cleaners and Laundry is an Alabama-based, family-owned and operated business that specializes in dry cleaning and laundry, serving the River region since 1941. There are 12 convenient locations across the River region. Find one close to you or call 481-1911 for free pickup and delivery. For 83 years, Central Alabama has trusted Jim Massey's Cleaners and Laundry. You should too.
Back again here with Longshore and McKnight. We are going to be talking in just a moment with Will Ainsworth, who has kind of taken the lead in response to the AHSA and their move to restructure high school athletics and the way it's set up in the state of Alabama. He, of course, is the lieutenant governor, and he's been a guest on the program before, which we certainly appreciate, John. Going to get a chance to visit with him again.
Yeah, I got several email addresses to send it to, so we're trying to figure out which one is the correct one to get sent to. I've gotten a couple in the last 24 hours, so we'll try both of those that I got. See what happens. But we've got the link and or several. We'll just figure out which one works.
Yeah, just fire them all out.
Yeah, fire them all out. We'll see what happens.
The AHSAA announced on Friday they have their central board meeting where they go over everything, first of the year. The 2026 through 2028 reclassification, that's what the board meeting was about. They will be undergoing what they call a competitive restructuring. 13-2 vote in favor of it will officially separate private and public schools for postseason and championship activities while revamping the association's classification system. There's not going to be any more 7A in high school athletics. In public schools, they'll start with 6. Private schools will still be able to compete in regular season play with public schools. Pike Lib down here in Troy could play Pike County or Charles Henderson or whatever, but they'll now be only eligible to play region games and all that and postseason games against other private schools. Same things in public schools. Public schools, it'll be 1A through 6A. Private schools will be single A and double A. What it does, as much as anything, is, again, make the private schools in their own classification. They'll, there's some private schools that really take it seriously and some private schools that don't. For many of the schools, it restructures the region where some of the public schools, their region will have to be a lot more travel, and the same thing with a lot of the private schools as well. So, and it has, as you might imagine, high school athletics is near and dear to many hearts of people that are citizens of the state of Alabama, and it has therefore created quite a firestorm of response.
Well, Lieutenant Governor Will Ainsworth joins us here on the program. Lieutenant Governor, thank you so much for taking some time out to join us today. A very hot-button topic that, as Barry mentioned, has a lot of Alabamians talking about it.
Everybody's fired up. So, I've heard from a lot of people. It seems a lot of the smaller rural public schools, they're loving this, and they feel that private schools had an advantage and won a lot of state championships that maybe they could have won. The bigger public schools, they kind of like the competition and, are, not really necessarily afraid. Then you got the private schools that are obviously upset. So it's an interesting balance, right? I mean, it's not all public schools are super excited about this. And then you got public schools that maybe because of the breakdown and pulling out all the schools, right? There's a school like Douglas in my hometown that traditionally would have been very competitive. I mean, their whole program right now is on the brinks of potentially coaches moving out, students leaving, because they're in a region they're not going to be able to be competitive and having to drive long distances. They're a county school. They don't have the resources to do that. And so there's a lot of different things that go into this. On the, you look at from the private school side, the way this broke out, there's a lot of teams that are in, for instance, Houston Academy, Lee Scott, right? Them having to drive down to Mobile for a game. Honestly, just wasn't thought out. I think one of the things that, and I'm getting ready to meet today with different leaders, AISA, Alabama High School Athletic Association, to try to get some compromise on some of this, but, maybe potentially going back to area play in some of these regions, especially if they're going to keep the private schools, would solve some of these problems instead of region play. where you have a 4-area game, so you're not having to travel 3-4 hours, is something that some of the coaches have brought up. But at the end of the day, I mean, my goal is simple. I just want kids to be able to play. I've got kids that go to a private school, right? We're not dominant. We're probably not going to win a state championship in football or baseball, but I mean, I would really like them to be able to play public schools. And, you know, if we need to separate it, that's fine. I really don't have that big an issue with that. But I do have an issue with us having to drive 2 or 3 hours on weekdays for region games. That's just not feasible. So we're going to have to fix that.
Well, for instance, you know, down here where I am, Lieutenant Governor, you got Pike Lib down here in Troy. Their region includes Montgomery Academy, Trinity, you know, you mentioned Houston Academy. I mean, they're looking at having to go down to, what is it, McGill-Tulane and St. Paul's and all of that. A lot of these private schools, one of the main reasons why they wanted to join the AHSAA is because of what you're talking about, because of lessened costs and decreased travel expenditures and stuff like that. And now they're looking at sending their kids 2 or 3 times a football season, 3 hours to Mobile.
Right. And I mean, and the problem with that, that's just not reasonable when you look at all the different sports everybody plays, right? And the fact that on weekdays, you can't drive 3 hours down there, 3 hours back. Sure, that might work on a Friday night, you know, but not for a basketball game, not for a baseball game. I mean, that's just not. And so I think the nature of this, I think there's possibility for all this to work out good, where all the schools in the state are competitive, but I think they're going to have to make some tweaks and changes. And so that's kind of what I've been advocating for. I've been out front on this, and man, I've taken some bullets over it, but you know, happy to do. I mean, there's some hot opinions on this, but at the end of the day, look, I mean, we're fine with playing other private schools. You know, I mean, literally, like that's not the issue. Okay. The issue is because of this ruling and the way they did it, not talking to everybody, and just there's some unintended consequences that have caused some huge problems that we've got to fix and fix them quick. And so, you know, we're going to keep advocating for just common sense things. And, you know, we just want, you know, good competition for students to learn life lessons. And also, I think it's important for public and private to play. If it's just going to be regular season, that's fine. But we've got some good ideas that have come from coaches that I think we can get some consensus on, and stay tuned. I think there's going to be some possible changes that public schools will be happy with, private schools will be happy with, and I think can help solve this. But man, you talk about it, it's been I haven't seen anything this hot since COVID issue.
I think there's a little confusion out there, maybe from people that don't have a dog in the fight per se. Is this more based on a competition issue or a travel issue? Because there again, we've heard both sides of it, but I think there's some people out there that are confused. What was the reason that this was ultimately done?
Yeah, I mean, so I think initially the Alabama High School Athletic Association decided to do this because the smaller schools, your 1A, 2A, 3A, feel like they cannot compete against the private schools in the same class, right? They feel that they've got an unfair advantage, that, you know, you can go through all that, right? So, you know, that's why you've had competitive balance, you've had the multiplier, all that. But even despite that, they still feel that the Choose Act, you know, even gave, you know, and there's a lot of misconceptions on that. And I want to make sure your listeners understand that. The Choose Act, the purpose of that is what President Trump supports. You know, it's to allow every parent to decide where their child can go to school. And it's to help them, whether it's public, private, charter, virtual school, you know, you decide what's best. But the thing that everybody's got wrong on this is a kid still has to move, whether it's public or private. If somebody doesn't move, they still would have to sit out a year. But anyway, so the competition part was what I think drove this. The fact that the smaller schools felt, and I understand that, okay, that's fair. I think there was things in place we could have done or have done to maybe fix that, but they decided to split them. And I think there's a way to split it and do it right, and there's a way to do it wrong. And what's happened is, but I can just tell you, it's not good for students or the athletes or families to have this long travel time, which is an unintended consequence. So we got to get that fixed.
Yeah.
Or we're still programs.
Yeah. If you've got a, I don't know, a JV team that is playing on a Tuesday, and they've got to go down to Mobile, or that's counterproductive. To be honest, to be perfectly transparent, I thought you'd be a little bit more animated and militant about this whole thing, because I know there've been some animated militant people. You seem very calm and rational, and it occurs to me that the calm and rational discussion that you're having probably needed to take place more before the AHSAA made this decision, instead of now they're getting all of this back chat, all of this input that really should have happened before they made a final decision.
I think it's a major mistake not talking to coaches, superintendents, families that go to these schools to figure out what are some of the things. I don't think, look, at the end of the day, for us, I mean, everybody's like, oh, Will's doing this because his kids go to a private school. He's going to win a state championship. Let's go to reality real quick on that. My kids go to Whitesburg. We do not recruit, right? Our school is full. Like, we don't have any open spots. So, I mean, last year we got whipped by Geraldine. We got whipped by Fife in football, and I think Collinsville. And we made the playoffs for the first time in school history. We were 5-5. Man, you thought we won the Super Bowl, right? We go play Mars Hill. We're not scared of Mars Hill, but we got destroyed 72-10, right? So, I mean, we're not a threat to win a state championship in football, right? I mean, and so – that's funny to me. But what I am frustrated, and so look, okay, we now replace Mars Hill, Coosa Christian, our region, and Westbrook. Replaced Fife, Geraldine, and Collinsville, whoever. I mean, so we're good, right? I think we still have a great shot to finish fourth. No big deal, right? I mean, in our region, and potentially make the playoffs. The thing that's frustrating is, that we still want to. I think it's good for public and private to play together. I don't think you want to separate them. I think it's good for, and I think it's a good life lesson to say, hey, let the best team win as long as there's equal factors there. And then I also think that, where I'm hearing the most uproar is that the parents, public and private, are upset about the travel times.
Well, I was going to get to that. Lieutenant, I'm sitting there listening going, why could this not have been in place about 7 or 8 years ago? Both my daughters played volleyball at Montgomery Academy. I can't tell you how many times I had to go to Mobile. I had to go to Huntsville. I mean, I'm thinking, are you kidding me? Okay, when I play schools closer to Montgomery, but they were really good. They play anybody, anywhere. They move up and play up classifications. But the travel, particularly on weekdays.
Well, I think there's a consensus plan that potentially everybody can agree on that'll still keep private, keep, another issue you've got some of the bigger private schools, they don't have anybody to play. They probably need to go back in. I'm just sorry. McGill-Tulane needs to be playing against some of the bigger public schools and let them have at it. But I don't think the bigger public schools are scared of them. I mean, I think they're fine with that, right? So, but I mean, we don't have enough big private schools in Alabama to separate them. So I think they've got to go back in the public arena. But I'm confident that, level heads will prevail and people will do what's best for children in this state and the student athletes and families, and that we can, potentially look at especially on the private side, doing more of an area type play instead of regions, and that could solve a lot of this. And then, also, potentially, there could be some, we'll see. But I think there also could be some new schools that want to enter this private, potential associate, the new thing they're going to do in the new division. There might be another 20 or 30 that come in that haven't traditionally been there, and where you got a bigger class now. And so it could be good.
Well, Lieutenant Governor Will Ainsworth, in closing, you've taken a lot of slings and arrows because, of your public position and your public stance on this. That's all you're advocating, right? That's the end result. All you're saying is just let's sit down and let's have a conversation and let's find out what's best for the young people.
Yeah, and again, I want to make sure everybody understands this. I got just as many calls I live in Marshall County, from look it up, Douglas, right? They totally got the worst deal of any public school in the state. And so I'm advocating for doing what's right for public and private. Because my kids go to private school, they think I'm fighting for championships and all that. I really am not good with separating the two, but if they're going to do it, that's fine. There still needs to be a way for them both to play. I don't think you just want private schools playing private. You got to have private still play in public. There's so many good rivalries, so many good life lessons, and so I think we can get it resolved and worked out to where hopefully everybody's happy. And it's the best thing for the student athletes, which is what we're trying to do.
It's a very rational presentation and very informative. Thank you so much for taking some time with us and going over the issue the way you have. We do appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, hey, glad to come on. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Lieutenant Governor Will Ainsworth, joining us here this morning. Very interesting conversation. And as he mentioned, Barry, it's a topic all over the state. I mean, somebody's got an opinion on it, public, private, travel, competitive nature. I hear you. Yeah, the travel's a pain. I get it. I wish they could kind of reel that in a little bit.
And there's got to be a way. It's not an unsolvable problem. And I've been around high school athletics my entire life, ever since high school. So, I just think that this is not something that is unsolvable. If, like Lieutenant Ainsworth presented to us, if everybody just sits down and say, okay, what's best? What's best for the kids? What's best for the schools? What's best for the parents? Let's just get into problem solving mode, because that's all that it is.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about that, the travel aspect of it. I know I'm turning the clock back a long way, but when I was at Jeff Davis, we had a hard time scheduling people that would play us. So we'd have to go out of state and play. I mentioned we played a team in Fort Walton Beach one weekend, one year that I was playing, Choctawhatchee High School. We had to go to Huntsville to play Lee of Huntsville on a Thursday night. That's the game that the manager got left and the state trooper pulled the bus over like in Coleman with the lights on, and the manager was in the back seat of the state trooper car.
That manager,
the stadium.
That manager is my kind of guy. Well, we appreciate all of it, including, the visit from C.J. Duncan, the visit from Josh Harris, and Lieutenant Governor Will Ainsworth with a return visit on the program today. Tomorrow.
Yep.
Good stuff tomorrow. Jason Caldwell.
Yep.
Going to visit with us, auburnundercover.com. Little Rodney Orr tomorrow. Tiderinsider.com. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. It's Longshore and McKnight.